What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Other Guys on the Badlands Podcast Network. I'm Jake Chatsky, joined as always by my man Paul Kilgallen. Paul, we were off last week because of the holiday. How was your Memorial Day? How you been? It's been too long, my man.
It was cold up in the Northeast, so it wasn't a typical Memorial Day, but it's been okay. It's been a good, it was an okay week, but I'm still kind of smarting from the Knicks loss last
Yeah,
night.
that was brutal.
It feels like that was a series that if there's a lot of things you could point to in game one, but specifically the missed goaltending call, and the insane Halliburton bounce on the shot. Like, I feel like either of those two things go the other way, and the Knicks are probably winning this series. And it felt like one of those years, a lot like the Mets in 2015, a lot like the Jets in 2009, where it was a little surprising that we got there because you didn't really have the feeling all season long like the team was talented enough to do it, but they got so hot in the playoffs that you almost started to feel like they were invincible, and you were like, this is destiny. Like, there's no way we're not going to the finals. So for it to end the way it did, and it was kind of like a slow bleed out starting in game one, it was pretty tough. It was a pretty tough pretty tough game to sit through the second half last night, and just knowing like the lead just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and just being like, yeah, they don't have another one of these in them. Like, this is over now. But I did get the chance to catch a Mets game with Connor and Meeks yesterday, so that was fun.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, no, tough weekend for New York sports. I went to the Yankees-Dodgers game. Yankees hit a bunch of home runs and then ended up losing. Then last night, the Yankees made the game unwatchable, like by the first inning, which was good so that we could focus all our energy into getting our hearts ripped out by the Knicks. And the 2009 Jets parallel is like such a good one because it was like they slayed so many giants. Like the Jets had beaten Tom, they beat Peyton that year. And then it was like going up against the Steelers team, who it's like going into the game, you could make the argument we had the better, more talented team. Same
Yep.
thing with the Knicks. Obviously I wouldn't necessarily consider slaying the Pistons a giant, but that Boston series, we were winning that series with or without the Tatum injury. You took down the defending champs. You get one step away from that championship doornail, and then, it just heartbreak, just absolute heartbreak.
Yeah. And it felt very 90s too, like to have to go through the Pistons, the
The
Celtics,
Pacers.
and the Pacers. It was like, it just felt like, man, like something's going on here with the Knicks. And so, yeah, brutal.
Yeah, sad now. Well, we're officially in the off season for two major sports now. And with that, we're going to do a little off-season potting. This is a game we've been talking about wanting to play for a little while, the blind resume game. So I have prepared a list of 5 blind resumes of players who play at, the same or similar positions. And I'm going to give you, Paul, information, and we're going to answer three and a half questions, which are based on the information I've given you, which blind resumes in their very nature can be I could have made this as slanted and biased as one. So we'll see if I like subconsciously am trying to steer you to pick all the Jets, because I should have led with this. One player in each of these blind resumes will be a New York Jets player, obviously, Jets podcast. So we'll see which player would you take, Paul? Which player is the Jet? Can you name can you name which Jet it is? And then the trickiest question is going to be, can you name the player I'm comparing him to? So I think in my heart of hearts, like making this list, I was worried I was making it too obvious. Some of them are like incredibly obvious. So I don't think you'll have much trouble with the Jets, but the comparison is where I think we'll see like, which player do you think you're taking this Jet over, or taking over this Jet will be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you have a history of making me look foolish when we play these games in the offseason. Like, you abused me on a bunch of the drafts last year because you just had
You
a
got
way
me
better
back.
strategy than me. So I'm a little nervous coming into this. I have to be honest. Like, I'm nervous. Do I get to ask clarifying questions? Like, can I say, you know, can I ask a clarifying question? Let me just keep it like that. If I have one.
you can ask clarifying questions. Sometimes I might not give you the answer because
Okay.
if I think giving the answer will ruin the blindness of this resume, then I'm going to keep some stuff in the back pocket. But
Okay.
if I like fuck something up, we will see. I think that this is also kind of the point. Like there are things that I've intentionally worded vaguely so that like you don't, it throws off your senses a little bit. So
Okay.
yes, I'm trying to trick you with some of these a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But let's start with what I think will be a relatively simple one for you, but we'll see which direction you go with it. So we're gonna two blind resumes of receivers right now. So player A over the last 3 seasons has 279 receptions. Player A has 3,249 receiving yards, so about it's 11.6 yards per reception. They have 14 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons. Player B over the last 3 seasons has 241 receptions, so about 40 less. 3,042 receiving yards, so about 200 less. But obviously, with that, a higher yards per reception, 12.6. And they have 15 touchdowns over the last 3 years. So one more touchdown than player A. So with all of that in mind, who you take? Let's start with the first question. Who are you taking, player A or player B?
I'm pretty sure I know player A, so I'm going to say player A.
All right. And who do you think player A is?
Garrett Wilson.
You nailed it. Now, the tricky question, can you name player B?
Is it the same relative age as Garrett Wilson, or are we talking the last 3 years of a longer tenured player's career?
I would say could go either way because I don't want to give away. Like, I think if I said, oh, they're the exact same age as Garrett Wilson, like, there's only one answer. So I don't want to. I don't want to say that or not. It could be someone who's the same age as Garrett, or it could be the last 3 seasons of a particular player's career.
I feel like I'm trying to like psychoanalyze you here. Like I want to say it's Chris Olave, but I think he's missed so much time that I don't think those numbers add up for Chris Olave. But like that would be one that would like make sense to compare those two guys together. The Ohio State thing, we have an Ohio State quarterback now. So I'm gonna keep Olave on the side for a second. I'm trying to go through like the list of like the top guys. I don't think it's AJ Brown. For some reason, my mind is going to Olave and AJ Brown. I'm going to say Olave.
It's a great guess. And honestly, I probably should have done Olave, but I went with another guy who Garrett is constantly compared to and who I think there's a lot of noise that people were saying this player B is better, and it's Drake London.
Yes.
And obviously, same draft class, which is why I couldn't 100% give that away and try and fool you. But, I think, there are some numbers that I purposefully left out. Garrett has had significantly more targets than Drake London has had. But I think overall, like Drake London has had probably a little bit more stable quarterback play, especially in the last year, than Garrett has had, or at least, maybe not last year with Kirk and Penix going back and forth. But, I think they both dealt with some interesting quarterback changes throughout their career. They were both, Drake went, I think it was 2 picks before Garrett in that draft. But I think there's been a lot of chatter about, oh, Drake London's the better wide receiver and blah, blah, blah. And when you look at what Garrett has done over the course of his career, we talk about it all the time on Badlands, so we don't need to like beat a dead horse here, but it is truly unbelievable that he's averaging like close to, if not, over 1,000 yards a season with absolute dog shit quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so first of all, I have a read on what you're doing now. So
yeah,
that's a helpful first step here.
We'll see.
So, or maybe I don't. Maybe you're throwing me off the scent. But that's a great one to pick for a comparison. I think it's important to think about when you're making this comparison. People are saying Drake London is better. Like, think about who else Drake London has around him. First of all, Kyle Pitts is there. I think he had like Olamide Zaccheaus for a little while. Who's not like whatever. He's not setting the world on fire, but he's had a couple okay other pass catchers kind of floating around in Atlanta. The quarterback is actually more it's closer than I would have thought on initial, because like Kirk and Rodgers are kind of similar in how they played with the Jets and the Falcons respectively. It was like the kid from Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder. That. Who was even Drake London's quarterback before that? He didn't have any time with Matt Ryan.
I don't think so. I think Matt Ryan was on the Colts.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'll have to look this up. But yeah, like,
was it Taylor Heineke?
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, they both have had pretty dog shit quarterback play.
Yeah.
To give them both their flowers.
And by the way, like Drake London's a lot bigger and a lot more physically gifted. Physically gifted is the wrong way to put it. He's bigger, right?
Yeah.
He's a bigger body target. He's got longer arms. And so for Garrett to be producing more on pretty much everything except average catch length,
and one more touchdown for Drake London, which, to your point, like, if you were to design a red zone receiver in a lab, you'd make him more similar to Drake London than you would Garrett Wilson. So the fact that it's close just is another notch in Garrett's belt. All right, you do kind of have a read on what I'm doing, which might make this second one a little easier. So we'll see. But then I'll spoiler alert, it gets trickier as we progress. We'll start with player A, this second player. Through their first 6 seasons, player A has 30 sacks, 36 tackles for loss, 95 quarterback hits, and 5 forced fumbles. Player B, through their first 6 seasons, has 39 sacks, 52 tackles for loss, 98 quarterback hits, and 5 forced fumbles. I think I should note, because both these players have missed some time due to injury, player A has played 92 games and player B has played 90 games. So, like, even though they both missed some time, the games played is relatively comparable. So with that being said, who are you taking, player A or player B?
We're talking about a D tackle.
Defensive lineman.
I think I'm taking player A.
You're taking player A. Do you want me to read the stats again?
Yeah.
All right. Player A has 30 sacks. Player B has 39 sacks. Player A has 36 tackles for loss. Player B has 52 tackles for loss. Player A has 95 quarterback hits. Player B has 98 quarterback hits, and they both have 5 forced fumbles.
Okay, player B.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't give you a single reason to take player A.
Yeah.
Do you know who player B is?
Quinnen.
Yes. Do you know who player A is?
I'm trying to. It can't be Dexter Lawrence. It can't be Dexter Lawrence.
Player A is Dexter Lawrence.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Those are really not good numbers.
Which, I was kind of surprised. Obviously, like, there's a reason people don't just box score watch and people look at the tape. I think there's a lot of shit that Dexter Lawrence does, especially in the run game, that wouldn't necessarily show up on these stats. But yeah, man, like, I was kind of blown away given how the conversation about how close these two players has been at just the general disparity, especially when you look at tackles for loss between the two players.
Yeah, that's pretty stark. It's like across the board. And you're right. Like, he's a bigger body. He runs stuff, all that stuff. He's also, I don't know if you could, especially this year, like, the Giants are going to have a supporting cast around him that's insane.
Yeah.
And the Giants have done well with that over the years. Yeah, that's one's pretty impressive.
All right, we'll move on to player 3, which I think will be the easiest name this jet you'll ever get, but I'm going to do it anyway. Through this player's first 2 seasons, they have 2 interceptions. They have 31 passes defended.
Sauce.
Yeah. All right. I was going to
2
finish
interceptions. I already had it.
I was going to finish it off with 2-time All-Pro and 2-time Pro Bowler. Now, here's the question. Are you taking player A, Sauce, over this player B? Through their first 2 seasons, they have 8 interceptions. They have 33 passes defended. However, Sauce has the accolades. This player only has 1 Pro Bowl and 0 All-Pros. So are you taking player A, Sauce, or are you taking player B?
Turnovers are so important that it's almost like I kind of like spoiled the water here by saying Sauce early, because like I want to take Sauce, right, and I have a feeling player B is Stingley. So I'll knock that one out of the way. It could be the dude on the Seahawks too, but I think it's Stingley. And look, let me answer it like this. I want Sauce to figure out how to take the ball away more often because interceptions are hugely important. But there's also an element of you almost forget when a corner is that good how much of a role he's playing. It's kind of like the Revis syndrome for a while. Now, Revis did take the ball away a lot, but sometimes his name was just never called on game day because the quarterback just wasn't going anywhere near him. And that's an insane impact also because you're taking half the field away from the offense at all times. So
Listen,
because of
don't let homerism. If you think player B is the better player, feel free to take player B. Like
I don't think Stingley's the better player. I think Stingley's good. I'm not like here to be a hater and say that Sauce is.
I have yet to confirm or deny whether player B is Stingley. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm going to stick with player A.
All right. You just took Sauce Gardner, and there's a very good reason why I limited this to 2 seasons. Because if I included season number 3, we would have had to go all the way back to 2009 because player B is Darrelle Revis.